Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayo Krishna Balaram Jayo Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jayo Krishna Balaram Jayo Nittai Gauranga Jayo Nittai Gauranga Nittai Gauranga Jayo Nittai Gauranga Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. Tenth Canto, 10th Chapter, text number 38. Please repeat after me. Vani Gunanu Kathane Shravanau Kathayam Vani Gunanu Kathane Shravanau Kathayam Hastau Chakarmasu Manastava Padayornaha Hastau Chakarmasu Manastava Padayornaha Smrutyam shirastava nivasa jagat praname. Smrutyam shirastava nivasa jagat praname. Drishti satam darshanestu bhavattanunam. Drishti satam darshanestu bhavattanunam. Vani gunanukatane shravano katayam. Hastau chakarmas yornaha. Smutyam shirastava nivasa jagat praname. Drishti satam darshanestu bhavattanunam. Katayam. Katayam. Word to word translation. Please repeat after me. Vani. Words, the power of speech. Guna anukatane. Always engaged in talking about your pastimes. Shravanau. The ear or oral reception. Kathayam. In talks about you and your pastimes. Hastav. Hands and legs and other senses. Cha. Also. Karmasu. Engaging them in executing your mission. Manaha. The mind. Tava. Your. Padayoho. Of your lotus feet. Naha. Our. Smrutyam. in remembrance, always engaged in meditation. Shiraha, the head. Tava, your. Nivasa, Jagat Praname. Because you are all pervading, you are everything, and our heads should bow down, not looking for enjoyment. Drishtihi, the power of sight. Satam, of the Vaishnavas. Darshane, in seeing. Astu, let all of them be engaged in this way. Bhavattanunam, who are non-different from you. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Please repeat after me. Henceforward, may all our words describe your pastimes. May our ears engage in oral reception of your glories. May our hands, legs, and other senses engage in actions pleasing to you. And may our minds always think of your lotus feet. May our heads offer our obeisances to everything within this world, because all things are also your different forms. And may our eyes see the forms of Vaishnavas who are non-different from you. Purport. Here the process of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead is given. This process is bhakti. Shravanam kirtanam Vishnu smaranam padasevanam archanam vandanam dasyam sakyam atmanivedanam. Bhagavatam 7:5-23. Everything should be engaged in the service of the Lord. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 19.170. From the Narada Pancharatra. Everything, the mind, the body, and all the sense organs should be engaged in Krishna's service. This is to be learned from expert devotees like Narada, Swayambhu, and Shambhu. This is the process. We cannot manufacture our own way of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For it is not that everything one manufactures or concocts will lead to understanding God. Such a proposition, yata matha tata patha, is foolish. Krishna says, Bhaktyaham ekaya grahyaha. Only by executing the activities of bhakti can one understand me. Bhagavatam 11:14-21. This is called Anukulyena Krishnanushilanam, remaining engaged favorably in the service of the Lord. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yenam Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Itinamine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaurabhaktarunda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. during the installation of Radha Paris Ishvara. So the ceremony was going on, and at the end of the ceremony, obviously, there is the first offering to the deities and Mahaprasadam is served. So, Prabhupada's personal servant was under the impression that Prabhupada's plate would have gone to his apartment. Because Prabhupada was, the temple was in a small house, and so they had taken an apartment nearby for Prabhupada. So they thought, it'll go directly over there. And the cooks who should serve for Prabhupada thought, oh, today is festival, so they will have prasadam for him in the temple. Right? And so the function all happened, and this, you can imagine, right? The whole temple was packed with people. And after the function has happened, they took Prabhupada from the back side. And they opened the door, and then the car was waiting. And they took Prabhupada over there. It was all like packed. And so once Prabhupada came out and he was about to get in the car, he asked, where is my prasadam? And now the hall was so packed, you can't even go back inside. There was not even space for anybody to go. And then his servant was supposed to drive him, said, Prabhupada, you please wait in the car, I'll go get prasadam. And so Prabhupada was sitting in the car. He quickly ran inside and made one plate of prasadam, brought it, and because there was nobody else, so he just kept the plate next to Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada was sitting, they put the prasadam in the back seat, and Prabhupada was sitting next to him, and they started driving. A little bit windy, these things, and so he took one turn, and the prasadam slid from the seat and fell on the floor. And the devotee was, oh, Krishna. He could hear the pat sound in the back. He looked back, prasadam was on the floor, on the mat, this thing, and the car was a little dirty also. And then it took 5-10 minutes, then they reached the apartment. And then this devotee was like, I hope Prabhupada doesn't remember prasadam. And then he took him all the way up and opened the door, and then Prabhupada went inside. And then Prabhupada said, hey, where is my prasadam? Where is the Mahaprasadam plate? And then he said, oh, no, Prabhupada, I had kept that plate in the back seat. It fell on the floor of this thing. And Prabhupada said, no worries, go get that itself. And so he went, and he just picked up, and you can imagine, right, there was a lot of dirt under this thing. He tried to remove as much as possible, and he just brought that. And Prabhupada, you all have heard about this. Prabhupada used to always honor prasadam in a very meditative mood. Sometimes he would take half an hour, 45 minutes, all by himself. Many devotees describe, they'd put a chowki for him facing the wall. So there's nobody, there's nothing, so he would just sit and then he would honor prasadam. So this devotee was, so this thing, so Prabhupada, I'll go get this thing. He said, no, leave this. And Prabhupada ate everything of that Mahaprasadam, including the dirt and everything, without saying anything at all. So, there's a secret of giving, of our sense control is given here. Right? You engage all the senses in the service of the Lord. But there is a little bit of fineness. There's a whole gradation of how a sense can be engaged. For example, we say, how do we engage our tongue? By chanting, by singing the glories of the Lord, by preaching the glories of the Lord, and by honoring prasadam. Right? We should start with honoring prasadam and then all these other things, because that is the most potent form of controlling the tongue. Now, If you think about the gradation from, this, what Prabhupada was doing, okay, honoring prasadam, even when it is fallen on the floor and it has got dirt in it and all that, because you're not at that point thinking about the actual taste that is coming on your tongue, right? You're thinking about how this is, touch the Supreme Lord's lips, and Lord is so merciful in giving this prasadam to us. We also see in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Raghunatha Dasa Goswami. Anybody remembers what was his special austerity in prasadam? In fact, it said that, when devotees, those days they used to have donnas and, clay pots and all that, right? So they would eat and they would throw into a pit. So Raghunatha Dasa Goswami would go and collect the pieces of rice over there from that pit. And then he would take that and he would dry it. Because you can imagine, right? It would have some moss and something, everything would have this thing. He would just take it out and he would dry it. And then that dried rice taken from there, because now sun has purified. And you can imagine it's a mixture of everything. There is no taste, there's nothing. And then that dried thing you would honor. That was his Mahaprasadam. Again, these are all very, very exalted. Nobody is asking us to do that. Right? Now, what we are asked to do is not lust over prasadam also. Right? We want to eat something and prasadam comes, that is there. Initially, when Prabhupada was preaching to devotees, trying to make them Krishna conscious, he would just say, eat till here. And keep feeding prasadam, nice, very tasty prasadam. So that is definitely the way to control the tongue, no doubt at all. When in doubt, eat nice, sumptuous prasadam. But then also learn, the way to honor prasadam. Also, sometimes, if you think about all the other senses as well, very similarly. Now, if you think about the negative side of that, because you should understand all aspects of it. You want to eat something without offering, you eat, that is bhoga, right? There are some implications of it. You get reactions to that. And, when you eat too much of food, they say the mouth, the stomach and the genitals are in one line. If you don't control the top two, you cannot control the genitals. And so you will end up with having to deal with other problems. Right? So, eating that. And then the worst you can do is eat people, just for the sake of the tongue. They develop all this ghastly tastes, and they torture animals and make some special food out of it and this thing. Right? Those are all very, very tamasic, very painful ways of, what you think you've developed a taste, and then you end up creating so much karma out of a simple thing like eating. Similarly, the Shastras are talking about, and here in this, every single sense, you need to understand the fineness of how to deal with a particular sense. So if you similarly apply for, let's say, hearing, can somebody share, what is the highest end of hearing, high quality hearing? Lord's names, yes. A little bit more, huh? Pastimes of the Lord. You want to hear some nice kirtans as well, right? Huh? Yeah, chanting, hearing, that's correct. Now, see, music is a very important aspect of human life, right? Doesn't it have such a trance? You're feeling down, you're feeling dull or something. You listen to some nice music, and immediately your mind like becomes surcharged. Doesn't it happen? They say it's like. So if you think about that, let's say you're listening to kirtans, listening to a pure devotee singing, which it sometimes takes time to develop a taste, right? Because it doesn't have all this, great music accompaniments and this and beats and all that. And also, I remember, I used to keep saying when I joined, I used to like a little bit of this dushum music, And so all of us brahmacharis, we used to have, you can imagine, in mid-90s, we used to have this Walkman. And one of the things is one big possession of the brahmacharis was Walkman was, I think, the most expensive possession of a brahmachari. And used to have a few cassettes. And to get, devotional music with a little bit Western thing was not very easy. So different devotees would make, cassette combinations and, we would say, we would look for this and that. And then I remember I used to have an Aiwa Walkman, and I don't know if anybody knows, somebody is very old, they'll remember. It's got very good quality sound, that's like the best Walkman you can have. And then a little bit of, there used to be this, so for us, there's Havi Hari Bandhu. I don't know how many of you have heard those songs. That was released, and a lot of nice beats and everything, and beautiful songs, of this thing. And so that was like, oh my God, so much, this thing. And you can imagine some people want to even listen to like electric guitar. They used to go to Poland, what is that place? In Poland, there is a annual music festival that happens. I forgot the name. Anybody remembers the name? In when they show Hare Krishna, this thing, they'll show, devotees are in the rocks. Everything is like flash lights and this thing, and devotees are playing guitar and they're singing, because they want to attract even people like that, and the rock show kind of a thing, right? Full rock show performance. That festival, I think it still happens. Still devotees still go and they do Rath Yatra and all that. In the middle of all these rock festival, ours, it seems it attracts people, and you can imagine it's a very Rajasic music. Right? Over the years, I cannot hear that music anymore. I literally cannot hear that music anymore. And it didn't happen overnight. It took many, many years. I completely for now, I feel like, oh my God, my ears are hurting. Like, why are they listening to this? These things, what is. Now, if you listen to M.S. Subbulakshmi or, some this thing, so nice, Now, can everybody suddenly, switch to sattvic music? It takes time. So, we should understand where we are and find somehow to connect to Krishna. If your stage is, you want Vishum music, it's okay. There are so many devotees, that's why they do this music. You can happily, but connect to Krishna, listen to that music. Better than listening to some Def Leppard or whatever, those things, they're playing all the. Okay, by the way, Def Leppard is 1990s electric guitar player. Nobody will know. I think. Anybody knows Def Leppard? Nobody will know. See, he knows. It's like instead of listening to crazy music like that, you listen to something that's connected to the Lord. Right? And, sometimes if you like melodious music, you want some nice music, some nice accompaniments and all that. All the time you cannot listen to Prabhupada singing and then, get the same boost. It's okay. Listen to some singer singing. So there's a gradation in all of these things. And the whole idea is that how do we connect to Krishna? How do we connect every sense to Krishna? And when the sense gets connected to Krishna, the purification of the heart happens, however gradual, however this thing. And you'll be surprised, unknowingly, without even this thing. Just like I said, I began from Dishum Bishum music now, listening to, that Krishna, Kirtana, Gana, Nartana, Parao. That if you listen to the Prabhupada singing that, you transported to a completely different, plot. Not always, but you can get to that stage. So, in every aspect of our life, every sense. So that's about the year, because that's an important year. We should engage. People want to listen to A.R. Rahman music, or they want to listen to whatever Rishabh or whatever, this different kind of things. That's why devotees, we should spend time, energy and everything. How do you get people who are all attached to different things also to enjoy Krishna, to connect with Krishna with some nice music? Very powerful way to connect. Right? What about the nose? I think for some people, nose can be they say red. One sense is very strong for different people. Have you heard this? Like different senses are strong for different people. In fact, they say different animals also. Different. Is which animal gets entrapped by the nose? No. Shastras. No, deer is for hearing. I think nose must be honeybee only, I think, right? Yeah. Dogs have, but in the Shastra they talk about 4 animals that get trapped because of that. I think the honeybee gets trapped by the smell of the lotus, and then it goes inside that, and then it cannot even come out, and it gets trapped. Fish is the taste, because it knows that the worm dangling like that is not this thing, but it's so tempted. It can see also somebody else getting hooked, but it's so tempting, it cannot resist. It goes this way, that way, this way, that way. Then it thinks, I can pull the worm out without getting encountered. Just tries and gets caught. Right? And the sense of touch. Which animal is it? The elephant. Just by the touch of the she elephant, gets so agitated, runs behind the she elephant, and such a big massive animal gets caught. So, for some people, nose can also be an entangling thing, How many people spend such ridiculous amount of money buying perfumes? I mean, these are like $100, $200, $300. I mean, they're ridiculously expensive things, and then every day they have to wear a different perfume, and how much of money is spent on that. It's such a big industry it is. But think about it. We also want to enjoy a nice smell. We also take the finest of fine ingredients, natural fine ingredients, offer to the Lord, and we smell that. We also smear, yes, same just like we also put. But just imagine the same thing, same activity, but by connecting to Krishna, by offering it to the Lord and then enjoying prasadam, we get purified. The eyes are one of the most difficult senses to control. There was once a sage, he asked, how do you control lust? Somebody asked the sage, how do you control lust? He said, the food that you're feeding the eyes, the mind will cook later. The food that you're feeding your eyes, the mind will cook that food later. If you keep on using your eyes to lust over, the opposite sex, and you're putting that into your eyes, what will the mind do? Later it'll go cook that food, and then you have to pay the price for it. Right? So, very interesting, in the 8th canto, Bhagavatam, there is this description of how Lord Shiva was bewildered by Mohini Rupa. I'll just read a few verses, it's very interesting. 8.12.24 Evam tam Ruchira Ruchirapangim Darshaniyam Manoramam Drishtva Tasyam Manaschakre Visajjantyam Bhavakila. Thus Lord Shiva saw the woman, every part of whose body was beautifully formed, and the beautiful woman also looked at him. Therefore, thinking that she was attracted to him, Lord Shiva became very much attracted to her. Prabhupada in the Purport explains, Mohini was first of all very, very exquisitely beautiful to look at. On top of that, she gave a sidelong glance to Lord Shiva, expressing her interest in him. Now, Lord Shiva, imagine who Lord Shiva is. As soon as he saw that, he was like, now realizing that she was attracted to him, he became very much attracted to her. Next verse, 8:12:25. Lord Shiva, his good sense taken away by the woman because of lusty desire to enjoy her, became so mad for her that even in the presence of Bhavani, Parvati, he did not hesitate to approach the woman. The beautiful woman was already naked, and when she saw Lord Shiva coming towards her, she became extremely bashful. Thus she kept smiling, but she hid herself among the trees and did not stand in one place. His senses being agitated, Lord Shiva, victimized by lusty desires, began to follow her, just as a lusty bull elephant follows a sea elephant. Chasing her at great speed, Lord Shiva caught hold of her braid of hair and pulled her near. Although she was unwilling, he embraced her with his arms. It just goes on to describe. I just wanted to, take this why the Bhagavatam talks about these things, to talk about how even an exalted personality like Lord Shiva, again, this was the Supreme Lord showing, to all of us what his, potency is. But one has to be very, very careful. Because you see, Amitabh Prabhu gave a very beautiful lecture on this. And he said, other senses, somebody can know whether, you are breaking rules or not. Eyes is not easy to know. Right? If you're eating boga and all that, someday somebody will come to know you're eating outside a hotel, jata hai, kata hai, this thing. Right? And if this thing. But eyes, how do you know? How do you know somebody is just looking or somebody is lusting? How do you know? You cannot know. But you know what you're feeding your eyes. Later the mind will cook and you will you'll have to taste the food later and face the consequences. Right? You might get some indigestion, you might get some lot of chances things are possible. But and it has immediate effect. Right? So the antidote is given. Right? We're all supposed to, that's why it's so important that devotees take so much love and care in dressing the deities beautifully, in different beautiful dresses and ornaments and different alankaras. And we are supposed to feast our eyes on the deity of the Lord, and then observe. We should observe every fine details. Oh, the Lord is like this, this is like that, and Radharani is like this, Krishna Chandra is like this. The different deities' decorations. And that should become, our source of, we need to, just like we do sadhana, we need to fill our quota, enough quota of that you don't do, there are consequences. A hungry person will go after all kinds of Useless things. So, and then in this verse, something else is also being said, very interestingly. Right? What are they saying? See, our eyes should see the forms of Vaishnavas who are non-different from you. Very interesting, right? That, we should, when we see Vaishnavas and these things, immediately the thing should come is, the Vaishnava's quality should come to our mind. Whether a Vaishnava is in a man's body or woman's body, doesn't matter, right? When we see their qualities, the beauty of their soul, the beauty of their mind, their niceness of their character, right? That is what should come to our mind. And also, as you go down the hierarchy, thinking about, okay, how do we protect ourselves from this? See, the problem is a little different for man, and problem is a little different for a person in a woman's body, right? In a man's body, again, the whole industry, the whole advertising industry is just designed to take advantage of the shortcomings of a living entity having male eyes, right? Sometimes, say, what is this advertisement about? You won't know. Prominent thing will be some woman in some, this thing, attractive, person will be there. What are they advertising? Nobody knows what they are advertising. Right? So, one has to be very careful about, this. So, the Shastras say that, Chanakya Pandit was always quoted by Srila Prabhupada, right? Matruvat paradareshu yapashyati sapanditaha. One has to learn to see every woman who is not your wife as a mother. Now, there are things that one should practice in a man's body. Then it'll take a little bit time on woman's body. Just 1 minute, 2 minutes is there. So, for example, consciousness is different at different times. You might see the physical beauty of a person, but then the way mind catches you is like it wants you to look again. It wants you to concentrate on different parts of the body of this thing. So that is where we should exercise our little bit of our free will decision making that we have. When you do that, because see, always in Krishna consciousness, always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. There's always do's and there is don'ts. Do's, yes, we said deities, we should look this, we should look. But if you don't learn the don'ts, then there are consequences for that. Right? Similarly, when a person is in a woman's body, one has to understand, everybody knows. You see, trying to be attractive so that you are able to attract the opposite sex is the other end of the opposite side of the same thing, the other side of the same coin. That is a way in which a woman's body can get implicated. You see nowadays all this social media, this and that and that. What do you think they're trying to do? They're just trying to see, I'm so beautiful, the whole world sees how many likes I got, how many of these things I got, right? So these are all different forms of getting trapped by the eyes, and these have consequences. Similarly, very nicely here, saying the mind should be engaged, always thinking of the lotus feet. Right? Hands and legs should be doing actions that are pleasing to you, and the head by offering obeisances to everything. Okay? Very nice practical ways for practicing devotional life. Jaya Srila Prabhupada ki, bol Premanand.